The following segments are pre-recorded and sponsored by Longworth Productions.
Screening for colon cancer on Triad Today. Hello everyone, I'm Jim Longworth and welcome to another edition of Triad Today, coming to you once again from the beautiful Senior Botanical Garden in Kernersville. We'll tell you more about them later on, and later on is when the roundtable shows up, and we'll get into all sorts of controversial topics, so stay tuned for that. Between now and then, some great guests, important information coming your way. And speaking of important information, we're going to start talking about the show. We're talking about colon cancer, and more specifically, screening for colon cancer. We do that with an expert, a first-time visitor to the show. We welcome Dr. Meredith Clary. She's a gastroenterologist with Atrium Health, Wake Forest Baptist. Good to see you.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
All right, let's start out with the basics. What is colon cancer, and how prevalent is it?
So colon cancer is a cancer that involves the colon or the rectum, which is the lower part of the digestive system. And it usually starts off as precancerous polyps, which are abnormal growths that can grow over time into cancer.
How common is it?
It's quite common, so it's one of the top 3 cancers for all comers. And unfortunately, there's been an increase in the age of which people are diagnosed, so the screening has now been adjusted to starting at age 45.
All right, yeah, I'll circle back around that for a second, but let me just ask, who is at risk of developing colon cancers? There are certain genders, races, age groups.
In general, everyone is at risk, so it's a cancer that's thought to be associated with age, so as we get older, your risk increases, but we found that studies are showing that there's cancer being diagnosed in younger patients. And so the national guidelines were changed a few years ago to start at age 45 for screening instead of age 50. Yeah,
because I thought it was 50, so we changed that. Well, it's good. But now, you mentioned something a minute ago about polyps that form and this kind of thing. Okay, that's fine for you as an expert to mention something like that, but it's just a regular patient. I mean, I can't see polyps. So, I mean, if I haven't had a screening yet, are there certain signs and symptoms to look for?
In general, most patients are going to have no symptoms for polyps. So polyps are not going to cause symptoms. Symptoms to be looking out for colon cancer would be signs of bleeding, abdominal pain, weight loss, change in bowel habits that are new for them. But oftentimes, unfortunately, those symptoms are going to be late stage findings, so the cancer is kind of at a later stage at that point. So
thus the reason for moving the age up to get, yeah,
exactly.
I see, to 45. What are the different options for screenings?
The gold standard is a colonoscopy. So that's where we use a long flexible tube that has a camera to examine the colon. And the benefit of the colonoscopy is it's for detection and prevention. So we're able to detect polyps, and we can remove them during that procedure so that we're preventing those polyps from growing further over time. I'm passionate about colonoscopy for that reason.
Right.
There's home stool tests that are options now. Those stool tests are detecting either blood or cancer DNA. And those are great tests, but oftentimes they're going to be detecting things at a later stage once something is bleeding or
right.
shedding tumor cells.
Right. Now, how often, we've talked about the age where you should start. Well, let's say somebody gets a colonoscopy at age 45. What is your suggestion? What is your personal rule on when they should come back and have another one and another one?
If they have an excellent prep and we were able to get an excellent look at their colon and they have no polyps, then the recommendation would be to come back in 10 years. So that's also the benefit of the colonoscopy, is it gives you more time between testing. If for some reason you have a polyp that found and detected, it depends on the type of polyp that it is. There's guidelines on when we would recommend you coming back, whether that's 7 years, 5 years, 3 years.
Okay.
And that also depends on if you have a family history. So it's important to talk to your doctor, and we would make a recommendation based on that.
That's good advice, Doc. And up on screen, wakehealth.edu is a general website. Now, you also make an appointment if you call 336-716-WAKE. And I hope you will do that. We didn't rehearse this or anything, but very quickly, just have a couple seconds left. Who or what sort of led you to want to get into a career in medicine? Was it a father, an uncle, a mother?
No, actually, I just, growing up, I loved science and wanted to take care of people. And I fell in love with GI in medical school. I I'm really passionate about being able to, every day I do colonoscopies, I feel like I'm preventing people from developing cancer. So it's very rewarding.
Well, a great mission for a great doctor. Thanks for all you're doing for people.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
All right. Will you come back sometime?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. We'll be right back after this.
Banking is like going for a swim. You don't need all the complicated stuff, but you don't want to feel exposed either. At Truliant, we give you just what you need, so you can manage your money on the go or stop by a branch whenever you need to. It's all about having options, while also keeping life simple with low rates, free financial advice, and friendly faces. So check out Truliant. We have just what you need.
Need help buying food? Everyone needs help sometimes. Food Nutrition Services may be able to help you buy food and free up your money for other expenses, such as utilities and medicine. To receive F&S assistance, households must meet income limits. You may be able to get assistance even if you own a home, car, land, property, or have a retirement plan or money in the bank. Second Harvest Food Bank of Northwest North Carolina team members can help you with the application process over the phone. To receive help or if you have any questions, call 336-422-7758.
Hi, I'm Jim Longworth, reminding you that Triad Today is now streaming on WFMY Plus, available free on Roku and Amazon Fire TV. Back now on Triad Today, and 'tis the season for thinking about where you want to go or traveling or taking vacation. And sometimes you think about, hey, I'd like to stay at some nice place. And we have a nice lady who's going to tell us about some historically nice places. Kelly Elliott is General Manager of Historic Winston-Salem Inns. Good to see you.
Thank you. Nice to see you too.
Now, how did the Historic Inns project come about and why is it significant?
Well, I'm probably going to start with the second part. I think it's significant basically because of the homes themselves. They were built in the mid to late 1800s. Both are prominent homes in the West End, which is a classic historical neighborhood in Winston-Salem.
Right.
And both homes, well, each home, I should say, belonged to someone I think that contributed to the history, obviously, of Winston-Salem.
Absolutely.
Probably Colonel Ludlow specifically helped design the whole West End neighborhood. So I think the house themselves, just knowing that they were able to be saved, because one was actually condemned, and renovated and bring them back to their original glory, I think is probably part of the historical part of it.
Yeah, now what kind of products and locations come under this Historic Inns brand in general?
It's a lot. So we have 3 inns. We have the 2 properties at Summit Street and the sister property, which is the Schaffner House. We also have a public restaurant called Founders that opened November 1st. And we offer event planning services. We have a rental venue, so we do catering.
You got it all.
We cover the gamut.
Well, you know, now, not to disparage anybody else, but there are a lot of places that folks can go and stay, and there's the bed and breakfast craze and all this. But why are your Historic Inns so unique, so different?
Well, I think one of the biggest things is we really do a great job of mixing modern comforts with the historical aspects of the homes. The huge walk-in showers at the Summit Street Inns are absolutely amazing. They're
I might
bigger.
just come over there and live permanently.
You probably could live in a bathroom. They're so large.
That's right.
The claw-footed tubs, the amenities, and obviously we're super competitive with pricing right now with our grand opening, so you can stay with us for probably the same or less than a chain hotel, and you get a lot more for your money.
Absolutely, a lot of ambiance. And now, is this a trend for old folks like me, or for young folks, or who should, you know, who's interested?
I think we're really for all folks. We're leisure travelers, business travelers, people that want to do staycations, small business meetings, private dinner parties. We have something to offer for pretty much everyone.
How would you describe that? I know this is not going to be difficult for you to do because we sort of covered it already, but the overall value that guests feel and get from being at one of these 3 historic locations, how would you describe that overall value?
I think it's pretty significant. We have a promotion going right now where it's basically 2 nights for the price of 1. So for $199, you can stay in a room that's probably 2 sizes, or maybe even 3 sizes. A regular room.
Which would cost you a fortune going to some other city, or
It would. The amenities are amazing. The level of service that we offer, hopefully, is also amazing. That's definitely our goal. And then, of course, you get a hot breakfast from Founders as part of your stay, a split of wine in your room upon your arrival. So it really is a luxurious experience, and at a very reasonable price.
Yeah, and I know the folks are looking at this saying, well, you know, okay, I'll recommend this that Kelly's talking about when my relatives come in or I have some friends coming into town. But I just want to say, and you know, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but look, folks, I mean, the husband and wife, they might want to get away for the weekend and just get away from it all and right here, even though they might live in the area. So that's good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I'm going to put up on screen Historic Inns WS, which stands for Winston-Salem, historicinnsws.com. Please visit that. It has all sorts of photographs and information about the inns. And our thanks to the good folks that visit Winston-Salem. Check out their website at visitwinstonsalem.com. Kelly, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
All right. We'll be right back after this.
Fly local, fly easy, fly PTI.
You know, it's hard to believe the Safe Sober program has been going strong for over 30 years.
And over 600,000 students have made the pledge to stay safe and sober on prom night. You know, Griff, it's had a huge impact on our community.
Yeah, you're right, David. And now we're making sure the message continues year-round.
So everyone can join us in supporting our students.
Learn more and take the pledge at safesober.com, sponsored by Daggett Schuler.
Back on Triad Today, always glad we can spend a few minutes with one of the good folks from Goodwill Industries of Northwest North Carolina, and one of them is here right now. Janice Richardson is Manager of Career Connections for Goodwill Industries of Northwest North Carolina. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Jim.
By way of New Jersey and Lexington and all these great places, and we're so glad that you're here. And you've been, I think you told me off camera, you've been working with Goodwill in one capacity or another for 10 years or
yes.
so. And appreciate all you're doing there. Now, tell me about the skills training program at Goodwill. And, you know, I have to list all the classes, but what kind of things are offered?
Okay, the skills training program, the purpose of the program is, of course, to help people to upskill or to gain skills that'll help them get a better job, or if they're not currently working, to make them more marketable.
And I think people forget sometimes. They say, oh, well, you know, Janice is going to help me find a job, but there are people that want to move up and get a different job,
Absolutely.
And they need your help.
That's right. As far as skills training, as you know, the trades are hot right now. So we have courses in welding, we have HVAC courses, professional truck driving courses. So there's a variety of different things that we offer there.
Now, who actually teaches, who instructs in these courses? Are you partnering with somebody, or?
We do. One of our biggest partners is Forsyth Tech, and the majority of our courses are facilitated through Forsyth Tech in partnership with them. But we also work with companies like TransTech for the truck driving courses. We also sometimes have employers that come in and teach courses, like for our CNA courses. So it just depends on the type of course in.
You mentioned a couple examples of some of the careers. Now, I'm going to ask a stupid question, I'm assuming, because you've checked this out. Are these is there a big demand for these jobs, and that's why the training is geared that way?
Oh, absolutely. There's definitely a big demand for the trades. What we're finding is that as some of the older workers who have worked in these positions for a number of years are retiring, there's that gap there where they need people to fill these roles. And so there is a tremendous demand for folks to go into these fields.
Now, since you and I have mentioned already that, you know, your help can be given to people who want to get a job or unemployed or want to move up. Let's circle back to that for a second. Who all is eligible to take these? Is there certain eligibility requirements or what?
Well, let me say this. At Goodwill, anyone who is in need of employment or underemployed, whatever the case may be, is eligible. However, it depends on the individual course. Some courses do have prerequisites, so it's really going to be on a course-by-course basis what the requirements are.
Right. Now, sometimes I think people are concerned whether they're talking about this with Goodwill or with a community college or whatever. They say, well, that sounds great, but I mean, have I missed a deadline, or is there a certain time I have to sign up for, or what? How does that work?
Okay, there are we do have deadlines for courses. So the person that facilitates our scheduling is Candy Travis. And so our skills training department will make sure that, they are within the proper guidelines, the proper time requirements for that course. If there's another course that's being offered, if they've missed that timeline, we can try to get them into the next course coming up.
Right. Now, I want to put up on screen the general website for Goodwill. It's Goodwill NWNC, which stands for Northwest North Carolina. So it's goodwillnwnc.org. Now, can folks go to that website and sort of move through into the various portals and find out more, or is there something else they should do to get more information?
There's a couple of things. They can go to the website, and there is a portal that has a listing of the courses that we offer.
Okay.
And in addition to that, they can also call our skills training department directly, and someone from our department will be more than happy to work with them and help them get into the course that they're looking for.
I just think that's great what you're doing. Janice, will you come back sometime and update us?
Absolutely.
All right. Janice from New Jersey and Lexington, and I was going to invite her out for barbecue lunch, but she doesn't eat barbecue. So that's, see, I told you I was going to tell her.
You told me, Jim.
No, it's horrible. All right, we'll be right back after this.
Are you looking to jumpstart your future in the fast-paced, rapidly growing food industry? In Second Harvest Food Bank's Providence Culinary Training Program, you'll learn the craft and art of cooking, plus business and management skills, science and nutrition, and essential life skills. Providence Culinary Training has helped hundreds of individuals just like you launch successful culinary careers. There's no reason to wait to turn your passion for food into an exciting career. Check out the upcoming class schedule on our website at providencews.org.
Hi, I'm Jim Longworth, reminding you to catch my column Longworth at Large and Yes Weekly every week. It's available throughout the Triad, or you can go online, yesweekly.com. Back now on Triad Today. 'Tis the season to talk about traveling and doing things and getting your boat out of mothballs and riding motorcycles and being safe during the summer. And we have an expert in a lot of these fields who are going to tell us how to be safe. And Christopher Cook is with us. He's been on the show before. We're always glad to see him. Owner of Alliance Insurance Services. Good to see you, sir.
Hey, Jim. Good to see you. How are you?
Good. Doing fine. And just in case people have not seen us talk about these things before I get to some of these questions, just remind folks where your offices are located in case they want to come see you.
Yeah, we've added a few locations recently. So we're in the Winston-Salem area, but we have an office in Clemens, Winston-Salem, Walnut Cove, Pilot Mountain, Mount Airy. So the northwestern part of the state, if you will.
Very convenient for everybody. And we'll give a website address later that people can contact you and a phone number. Now, all right, let's get to it. I mentioned boats a minute ago. It doesn't have to be a yacht. It can be any little boat or whatever. But now, do I need a special kind of insurance to start using that this summer?
Well, there's no federal or state law that makes you have boaters insurance, right? It's not operated on a public road. So we do recommend that all boaters have a liability insurance policy for while they're operating. And depending on the value of the boat, most likely some form of collision or other physical damage coverage.
And I guess that comes in handy if you're taking some friends along on a boat and there's some accident or they injure or break their leg or something or fall out of the boat, then
that's my concern. If you have an accident on the water, or if you're pulling a skier, or you run into another boat and you're liable for somebody's damage, you want to make sure you've got coverage for the liability concerns there.
All right. A lot of times people like to shoot off fireworks during the summer. What's your view on that? Any safety tips on that?
Well, I think they're pretty common safety tips, but I'll remind everybody, be safe. Don't point fireworks at others. Don't be around others as you're shooting those. Follow the safety instructions on the fireworks. Sometimes summer can be dry. Thankfully, this summer hadn't started off too dry in the Carolinas, but there's certainly a fire hazard of burning a home or nearby.
Yeah, and I know he's not exaggerating. I was reading some reports on that. A lot of injuries and even deaths occur from misusing fireworks, so we want to be careful on that. I mentioned motorcycles a while ago too. A lot of motorcycle enthusiasts out there, but they wait for the warm weather to get out there and hit the road, and maybe they haven't ridden it for several months.
Yeah, it's a great idea to check your safety devices, general maintenance. Have your tires been checked? Are they properly inflated? Have your brakes been checked? Are they operational? Funny story, my little boy has a dirt bike, and he didn't have any brakes, and Dad's plunder there for not checking them before he started riding this summer. But just be careful. Realize, as you use the term mothballs, when you put things away for a little while and you bring them back out to have fun and enjoy your summer, you want to make sure you've checked your safety devices.
And I guess there's separate policies you can do for motorcycles. Let's say the family has a couple of cars and a truck or something, but do you advise people to put that under, I may be using the wrong terms, a rider under your auto policy, or is it a separate thing, or what?
A lot of times a motorcycle policy is a separate policy. Not always. It can be part of the auto and home package, but usually to get some of the coverage that motorcyclists need, we often put it on a separate motorcycle insurance policy.
Now, unfortunately, this is also hurricane season. There was somebody asked me the other day when they heard about this, they said, should I get flood insurance or what? I mean, any quick advice on that?
At least consider flood insurance. The wind damage from a hurricane can be just as severe, if not more severe, than a flood. But we all are prone and all susceptible to flood damage, even though this far inland as we are in the Triad.
Exactly.
Some of us don't believe that.
Yeah, I know it.
We are at risk.
Yeah, and up on screen, I want to mention, because I promised a couple minutes ago I would do this, www.myallianceinsurance.com. That's myallianceinsurance.com, or you can call 336-377-9003. Christopher, thanks for giving us these tips, and travel safely and have a great summer.
Thank you so much for having me, and you have a great summer too.
All right, thanks a lot. We'll be right back after this.
Every cookie sold in the Girl Scout Cookie Program helps girls learn lifelong lessons in people skills, decision making, money management, goal setting, and business ethics. It's amazing how much you can learn from a cookie. The Girl Scout Cookie Program. Think outside the box.
Back now on Triad Today, just about time for the round table, but a quick shout out to the good folks here at Senior Botanical Garden in Kernersville. It's a lovely place, and you can visit the website, visit the garden. It's hot outside, but that's okay, because it's hot in here too. There's three hot guys with me. On my right, but always the political left, Ogie Oldman. And next to him is Dave Briggs, who is director of High Point Theater. But Sherry, if we can on this show, let's just say Mr. Theater on his title whenever you talk. And Keith Granberry, who's founder of Helping Hands Consultants. Guys, the first question is kind of serious, and I don't mean to be morbid. Back in 2018, a report was published that said that Ocean Gate's submersible vessel had design flaws that could lead to, quote, potentially catastrophic outcomes. Yet the company continued to operate as is. My question is this, in light of last week's tragedy, should Ocean Gate be made to reimburse taxpayers for the costs involved in search and rescue operations, Ogie?
No, I mean, the Coast Guard made it very clear that they never charge for rescue operations, and most of the other vessels and craft, they're kind of a brotherhood of people in that line of rescue, search and rescue. So no, I don't think so.
Dave?
Yeah, I understand exactly what Ogie's talking about, but if something's been classified as unsafe and you still go out in it, and then you have to get rescued or searched for,
right,
I think there probably should be some remuneration.
Okay.
I think they shouldn't, but you know, the bigger issue is we're focusing on this disaster when there was a boat with 300 people on it that went down, and nobody's talking about that.
Yeah.
These immigrants went down. No, there was no search and rescue. We're focusing on five people,
rich guys that
paid $250,000 to do that.
One quick thing though, just several states, so the folks at home know, several states are now charging for search and rescue, and I'm wondering, would you think North Carolina should do that?
I don't. I really don't.
Nobody?
I don't know.
No.
If you take a risk, I don't know. Maybe and you get yourself into hot water like that, maybe.
Yeah, if you deliberately do something wrong. Okay, yeah. Well, anyway, last year, a Sacramento, California restaurant owner hired a fake priest, this is a true story, to elicit confessions from employees so he could find out if any of them had stolen money from him or been late to work and not told him or disliked him. Now, the Department of Labor has just ruled that the owner must pay the workers $140,000 in damages for deceiving them. Guys, if cops can pose as someone else in order to catch a suspect, what's wrong with an employer using the same tactic.
Oh, that's apples and oranges, Jim. The cops have a right to do things that ordinary citizens don't, and I'm glad he got caught. That's underhanded as can be.
Dave Briggs.
Well, it's appalling is what it really is, and I don't know of any employee that I had, if I brought a priest in, they would go talk to him. That's, you know.
You know, what do you think, Keith? A fake priest.
Why would you give a confession to somebody you don't know?
Exactly.
Why would you do that?
Well,
you should be fired on the spot for that.
That's right. Well, there you go. The rescue people are here. No,
maybe they can rescue those people from their confession.
Yeah, that's right.
There you go.
All right. That's weird that a fire truck just went by, but it only had one siren. All right. All right. I went to an island one time with one siren, but I don't want to try. A bipartisan group of U.S. senators wants to limit the amount of farmland that a foreign government can own in America, and they even want to seize farmland near military bases that's owned by the Chinese. You okay with this proposed law, Ogie?
Not really. It kind of smacks a little bit of Japanese internment during World War II. I don't see it.
What do you think, Dave? Seizing land?
I am completely fine with us not selling property to foreign countries.
Okay, and especially around military bases. Keith, what do you think?
I mean, we're a free country. If you can purchase the land, how are we stopping people from purchasing land? It doesn't make sense to me.
So even if the Chinese government has an investor to buy land near a military base?
They have investors now. We don't know. These billionaires are part of the Chinese government as we speak.
Right. The Southern Baptist Convention recently ruled that member churches cannot be led by a woman pastor. Now, guys, are you okay with that ruling? Or should the Southern Baptist Convention and its member churches be stripped of their tax-exempt status as long as they discriminate against women? Ogie.
Man, I don't know how backward you can really be in life. I mean, what is wrong with these people? If there's a law, or write a law, get now to sue them or something. That's just pitiful.
Yeah, any kind of discrimination like that sort of disturbs me, and yet they still get tax-exempt status. What do you think, Dave?
This is a real slippery slope when you look at it, because you have the freedom of religion aspect of that. But then again, you also have a right to work. Now, a female Baptist preacher could go to 100 other of the Baptist churches there are, maybe, and preach.
Right, even though she shouldn't have to. Keith, I mean, what do you think? Exactly. They get tax-exempt status, but they won't hire women pastors.
They should be stripped. You cannot. Women have been leading us for eternity, and we're not going to allow them to lead a church. I mean, they should be stripped, absolutely.
All right, a recent poll shows that 80% of Republicans think that Donald Trump should be able to serve as president even if he's in prison. Very quickly, guys, are you okay with that? Does it disturb you, Ogie?
Well, it's the most disturbing. It's the biggest mystery of my life, I think, how many of these Trump-lite lemmings can believe anything that guy says.
Quickly, Dave, what do you think?
I have no comment on this one.
No comment.
He has no comment on it.
Yeah. You don't have a comment. Finally, guys.
You cannot be in jail and serve as president.
Finally, a new study concludes that if you take Viagra, you will live longer, according to this study. Guys, would you take Viagra in order to live longer? Ogie.
I have no comment on this.
Everybody's got no comment. Dave,
well, it was originally designed as a pill to help blood flow.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Well, thank you, doctor.
You're welcome.
Keith, would you take Viagra to live longer?
I don't need Viagra, but
I didn't ask that.
I thought you said, did I? I would not take Viagra. No, if I had to live longer, you absolutely would take it. Yes, absolutely.
Oh, my. These guys are going to live to 110, I tell you why. All right, well, that's all the time we have. Oh, except for this. Scientists have now developed this remarkable smartphone that can track the movements of great white sharks. Apparently, the technology was ordered by the police chief of Amity, who said, you're going to need a bigger phone. It's a Jaws reference.
Yeah, we got that.
All right, for all of us Viagra developers, I'm Jim Longworth. We'll see you next week.